Hello and welcome to day 144 of Dungeon 23, the series where we make a room of a mega dungeon every day for a year. Today we're going to reuse some assets, but we're going to change so they're a bit different. The main thing about this room is that there is a bunch of skeletons up in the top. There are 4 regular armored skeletons and then one of the medical ones. They have this little area of half cover here. And also, they have this thing, which is the main draw of this room, which is the turret. I'm just reusing the howitzer sketch I have, just because it's easier than having to draw a new one. And what this guy does, because obviously the party's going to want to attack it, it does have an AC of 15, 55 HP, and a +6 to con saves. Also, immunity to all conditions, and obviously psychic and poison damage, because it's an inanimate object, and it's technically a creature because most things you interact with are creatures, like vehicles are all creatures, even though they're not really alive. Technically it's a construct, but oh well. It's not sentient, it's not alive, it has 0 in charisma and intelligence. It's like, doesn't even take damage from those things anyway, so it doesn't matter. But the important thing is that a creature can use its action to interact with it as if it's like a weapon, because it basically is. An adjacent creature can use its action to cause creatures within a 10-foot cube within 60 feet of the turret to make a DC 14 dex save or take 3d8 piercing damage. So it's a bit tricky to word it properly, and I think I did word it as best as I could. And basically what that means is within 60 feet of the turret, so basically this entire area here, also like going down here, maybe this is like half or third cover, this is like half cover, third cover. Anyway, so anywhere within this area in a 10-foot, let's see here, let's draw this better. Within like a 10-foot cube, all these creatures here, if they target this area, would have to make the dex save. And a lot of people think that like the cube automatically means it's centered on the caster or the originator of the effect. Like, I believe it's Thunder Wave or something like that, where it doesn't necessarily originate from the caster. Although that's a bit different too, because the way that would work would be it is a cube that is within, or let's say this guy is our like caster, he could like cast it in like this 10-foot cube over here. Like, it's not necessarily like on himself, which is weird. There's no good way of having attacks also require saves, or having attacks hit multiple players without there being like a save, so it's weird, it's annoying, but it's the best we could do for what we're trying to get across here. And assuming it's bolted to the ground, if the party wants to try taking it with them, they can, but I mean, it's heavy. It's probably doesn't have a whole lot of ammo for it. I mean, I assume it's magical, where if you take it any lower, it's just going to not work anymore. Also, it's very like the piano, where it's probably not going to fit through the doorway to get lower, so I mean, what they can do. Although, this would be a good use for those captive red soldiers, to have them push through here while they take all the fire, while you sneak behind around it and attack the guys from behind. You could use the tunnelers to lure that big guy in here and have basically the same thing happen, where you sneak around the back, kill these guys, and have those guys fight the other guys. And the main point of this room is to basically section off like whatever's over here, because you could come up through this way, but it's not necessarily going to progress you any further unless you go right down here. But we might have some stronger difficult thing here to make it so this may be preferable. I don't know, I haven't really planned too far ahead. The entire point of this is to be kind of a day-by-day thing anyway. Well, there are some things I have ideas for I'm waiting on, but mostly it's just whatever idea I have, because that's a challenge. So yeah, this has been the room. If you want to see more specifically of the skeleton conflict, which is going to continue for a little bit, but also deeper and darker into the dungeon, and all kinds of crazy monsters and traps and magical items and tricks and all that stuff, then consider liking the video, commenting down below, subscribing, turn on notifications, all that stuff, to have this video series show up in your recommendations more often. Or you could always just remember to come back tomorrow, because these videos are daily. They're gonna be daily until the end of the year, obviously. So yeah, I apologize for the poor quality. It's not going to improve.